read. Only black women can give birth to the chosen seed. More madness from these reprobates. Anyway, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with redirecting Proverbs 31, school of wisdom. This woman right here, she's been around for years, spewing that madness. She claims she knows she's an Israelite, but she's not formerly of One West. So her, she's one of those Yahites, I would say, because you see it right here. Let me read this. It says, thank you, Sister Deborah, for these lessons. To stay on our Father's path, we need this education, especially since too many of Yah's children, we call these people Yahites, have been led astray and are lost. I have learned so much through watchmen and your ministry. Okay, the Book of Jubilee, the Book of Jubilee is what truly opened my eyes to more along with Enoch. This is complete madness. But guess what? The Most High set up this madness, these stumbling blocks. See, these other Israelite groups that lead others to stray, the Most High did that. They said you need both Hebrew men and women, Hebrew women, to create Hebrew children. Don't forget to be humble, which is clearly off. And we don't care about these people, okay, because they're set up to fall anyway. They're not of the elect. There's complete and utter madness, with this nonsense about, like as the title says, only black. And this is a comment that somebody gave to me. Let me do this. Okay, I believe it's right. Mobtown, Shalom. Is this it? Okay, yeah, this is it. Shalom, Elder. I came across this video that's off topic. The maker of the video uses Numbers 25 and Ezra 10, which I'm not going to go to try to prove that an Israelite woman is needed for a seed to be chosen. I told her, in my opinion, that the Israelite man got punished for letting women strange, foreign, or not led us away from the Most High to follow Baal. Is there any scripture that can help me debunk her doctrine? She's saying anyone who doesn't have an Israelite mother is a heathen. I know you're busy. No, I'm not busy. But if it pleases you, could you point out some scriptures or do a short video? This is her video. So I clicked on it and this popped up. This madness. You go to some of her videos, you see her face, and you know what I'm talking about. She's been around spewing this madness with her husband. I mean, they are Israelites, but they're off Israelites. They don't have the truth. The truth came out of One West. All right? The true man of the Lord came out of One West. So now this is going to be easy to debunk. So, okay, this is, if you're not familiar, this is Jephthah. Now, Jephthah, I'll read the story about him. It's a good story because Israel looked down on him and kind of put him in the back of the bus, so to speak, because his mother was a harlot. Now, when you go into it, his mother's not important, but his father's important. The fact that he had an Israelite father made him an Israelite. So he was supposed to be accepted among Israel, even though his mother was a harlot. It says the charge, whether she's an Israelite woman or not, the charge against him was that he was the son of a harlot because their father was not legally married to Jephthah's mother. Well, the act of sex is marriage. Read when Isaac got with Rebecca. He took her off of the I believe it was a horse she was on, and took took Rebecca to the tent, which he was mourning his mother Sarah, and he popped her, and then his mourning was over with. His depression was over with. He fell in love with her, and she fell in love with him. They said what, and they never seen each other. Soon as they laid eyes, as soon as he saw her, he took her and popped her, and then it says, then she became his wife. And the word wife from the Hebrew, ayasha, which means woman. They said what an appalling rejection. Consequently, they told Jephthah that he does not have a right of inheritance of their father's property, which he did. This, of course, was not his fault. So now, when you read the whole account, he was a warrior, and I forget what nation that they were fighting against. You can go back to the story, but they needed him to be a captain over like a general, captain, the head. And then he said, "Okay, if I fight for you and I, prevail, I'll be a captain over all of y'all." And they agreed to it. He did it, and then he became. Before he wasn't a king, but he was in the position of a king, but he was not crowned. The first king, of course, was Saul. The second king was Solomon, which is the ultimate king, physical king of Israel. Okay, so now it doesn't say whether his mother, you got to go into that story. His mother's not important, it's what his father was. No matter who his father lay with, his father could lay with a Moabite woman, Ammonite woman, Canaanite woman. Any woman of any nation, and the child that is born is an Israelite, whether his father was a Judite, a Gadite. You are what your father is, not what your mother is, and there's no such thing as a half breed. So there's a couple more examples. Another example is Solomon's son that became king, Rehoboam. He was an Israelite, and he became king or head of all Israel, but his mother was an Ammonite. David was a quarter Moabite, because when you go to his line, his father got Jesse, then Obed, and then Boaz, which was correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't read that story in a while, but his not his father, not his grandfather, but his great grandfather had got with a Moabite. So the son that came out of them was not Jesse, but matter of fact, you know what? Let me go to that. Let me go to the story so I can get it right. Bear me for a minute. Jesse. Jesse. Okay, Ruth 4, verse 17. And the woman, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, there is a son born to Naomi, and they call his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David. So I was right. It was uh, and they call his name Obed, which was David's grandfather. So Boaz was the great grandfather of Jesse, so of David, which was the grandfather of Jesse. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Let me open this up. The marriage of Ruth. Then went Boaz up to the gate. Boaz spake. So Boaz, let me do this, make it easy for myself. Boaz is mentioned 8 times. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. Same scenario with Isaac and Rebecca. He took her. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when he went into her, had sex, Yahweh gave her conception. She became pregnant, and she bare a son. So that was Obed, and Obed begat Jesse, and Jesse begat David. So David is part Moabite. Now the ISUPK says that Ruth was actual Israelites, but the original one West says, give me a second. I don't even know why I clicked on this. Oh, I wanted to get to the word took. But David's son, Solomon's son, uh, uh, Solomon's son, Rehoboam, that became king of Israel, because he was an Israelite. His mother was an Ammonite. So he was half Ammonite, if you want to deal with that half breed concept. Laquak, which means to take, to seize. In other words, she couldn't resist. She couldn't say, "Well, I don't like you." Back then in the ancient world, if there was a woman set up for you to get with, there was men. It's normally your father and the woman's future wife's father that would get together, make arrangements for the daughter to get with the father's son, and the daughter had no say in the matter. The daughter had no say in the matter, because you notice it said took, and Boaz took Ruth and went in unto her. Now, what if she said, "I don't like you"? Tough diddy. He was gonna go into her anyway. For you emotional cats out there, read the book of Deuteronomy 23rd, 22nd chapter. So I gave you another example. There's more examples out there, but those are two main examples. So this guy Jephthah became king before there was kings. He became the head. In other words, he became a judge over Israel. The scriptures tell you before there was a king, they were judges. And what is a judge? A judge is a king. Is a rule. He has a ruling position over Israel. So Jephthah became ruler over Israel, a ruling judge over Israel, aka a king. But he was not coronated yet. The same thing goes with um, King David. His great grandfather laid with Ruth and had a son, Obed, and Obed had an Israelite woman and had a son, Jesse, and Jesse had an Israelite woman and had a son called David. But guess what? Part of their lineage is Moab. They got Moab in their lineage on the woman's side. Your nationality is based upon what the man is, not the woman. That's why when you go to First Chronicles and you read the genealogy, it's the genealogy of men. It had nothing to do with women. A woman does not change your genealogy. So she's way the hell off. So anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.